What's going on, y'all? Today is January 13th, 2020. And if you hear some noises like in the background, it's just basically people like across the street, like chopping up some wood and stuff or whatever they're doing. But today I wanted to talk about a topic that most of us, or maybe all of us, can relate to, and that's pretty much the absence of a parent, regardless if it is a mother or a father. And I know how some of us can relate to that and how it can affect us personally, mentally, or whatever the case may be. Um, so, my entire life, my father was absent from my life. Well, I wouldn't say he was absent, because I'm going to tell you pretty much a story about, how I actually met him. But half of my life, my relationship with my father has not been the way that I always wanted to have, in my life. Because basically he really wasn't there. And I know a lot of people can relate to when you have a father, you know, not being present, not being in the presence of your life, or, there may be a bunch of people that have, mothers that haven't been present in their life. But yeah, my father, uh, he wasn't really much there. And I know as a younger child how that can pretty much affect you, emotionally, mentally, all that stuff. And if I can think about it, when I was younger, it wasn't as much as him not being there affected me, but more so of people bringing it up for some reason, for odd reasons whatsoever, as to trying to like say why I feel as though I look disappointed. Okay, let me basically say this. So I have a problem where I don't express my feelings and my emotions towards family members and others, when it comes to my life. So I have a very hard time like expressing myself to people unless I've known you for like some years now and I'm very close to you. So like when it comes to family, whether it's like family affairs, whether we have like outings or get-togethers, family reunions and stuff like that, it's very hard for me to kind of like talk to my family. Most of you might be able to relate, but it's hard to talk to family that you necessarily feel as though they don't understand you. Like, I have cousins and a sister and stuff like that. And when we were younger, we were just kids and we would understand each other kind of, in a way. But as I got older, I noticed how something like that kind of shift, like the whole vibe of it just shift, some kind of different direction. And it's like with the adults in the family, it's more so like kind of like the same thing, but it's like you feel as though they will understand you, but they don't, because it's like a different generation. If you guys are understanding what I'm saying or feeling what I'm saying. So for me, it's pretty much hard for me to express my feelings or just like be myself, that I'm pretty much amongst a lot of you who, I am around, and I do laugh and I do joke and I do smile and I do these other things that I really much don't do around other people. Hell, I usually don't do this stuff at, my job when I was working, like morning shifts or night shifts, and I'm around customers and I'm around people, and it's just, I don't feel like expressing myself or having conversations with people because I really can't relate to these people, or it's just, these people are not the right people to do in front of. Like, even with wrestling now, like most people who I've just met, to be honest, you're not gonna get that side out of me unless I'm that very much close to you. Like, I'm probably not gonna express how I am around you. I'm probably not gonna like joke around and stuff. I'm probably gonna be thinking, I'm probably gonna be like dead serious to you as to thinking, Kevin's really like, excuse me, I just said my name, but it's okay. But like, a lot of you pretty much know my actual name. But it's like, Kevin is so quiet. He really doesn't seem like he smiles or he's happy or anything else like that. And maybe that is the case, but at times for me, it's just like, I don't express myself or my feelings or who I am the way I do it with other people who are like close to me, like friends or some family and some other people. But it's just, I would say if you're patient, it might come to that, but just know that it's not gonna just click on like that. Because most of the friends that I've known for like 6 or so years, or even some I've known 5 or less than, I've clicked, linked to, and attached with very quickly, without ease, because I can relate to them. And not to say that most of you that I can't relate to, but it's just, I think it just depends on how some of us were raised, how we were taught, our mannerisms, our ebonics, the way we speak to each other and stuff like that. Like, obviously I'm from Baltimore, and I'm not gonna say like I'm from like the hood or anything else like that, but if you understand what I'm saying when I say I'm from Baltimore and I'm like one of those Baltimore kids that got into like Baltimore shit, or then you'll basically understand. Or it's just like if you're from DC or if you're from wherever part of like the DMV or wherever you're from, if you just understand like basically what I'm saying, then you pretty much get what I'm saying. I can't explain it like the way I want it to, but it's like I relate to people and I catch on to people that basically may have dealt with the same situations or the same shit in my life. I'm not saying a lot of you haven't experienced it or anything of that nature, but it's just I relate to people and I catch on to people so fast, just how much I relate towards them. But I know I'm pretty much bragging, not bragging, but carrying on about something that doesn't have to necessarily do with the topic. But yeah, like with my family, it's kind of hard to basically express myself, like I said earlier. So like the relationship between me and my mother, it's kind of a rocky road, but we're getting there. Throughout the years, like when I was little, I was basically a mama's boy. There were places that I didn't want to be around unless she was around me. But as I got older, it's like I started to disattach myself from like, that whole thing with her. And it's not like anything she's done personally. I mean, me and my mother had some issues, here and there, more, I'm going to say more so it's probably on my part because, I'm not going to say that like I was the best kid, growing up or the best son growing up. I'm not saying that I did like dumb stuff or like stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing, but it's just I don't know how to really explain it, but it's just like the relationship between me and my mother. It's kind of there. It's kind of not. It's kind of a mother and son relationship that is there, but it's kind of like I distance myself away from her because at times I felt as though she judged me or if I wasn't this or if I wasn't that. And then there are times where we do have conversations where it's not like that. And I understand she loves me, but I don't understand that she gets me. That's the thing. And it's the same with my sister. No, not really, pretty much the same with my sister. I would say like me, like earlier when I was saying me expressing myself towards people, it's the same with my sister, or it's the same with some people in my family that I don't express my feelings or emotions towards my family the way that I would perceive it in my head or want to. So there have been some incidents in my family where when I was little, like people would just bring up for no reason, like just bring up like my father not being into my life is the reason why I'm angry all the time. And that's never the case. Usually I'm just a quiet kid, you know, and I've stayed to myself. I mean, I'm older now. I still stay to myself, but I try to like branch out and reach to people and, start expressing myself. Sometimes, but but it's like with my father not being there, it's just as a child, you just necessarily don't understand why someone who basically helped alongside with your mother procreate you into like help you, live in this world basically where you don't even understand why you're here. And it's like, well, it takes two to tango, and then 9 months, boom, boom, and then, you're born, and then it's like, you don't understand why you're here, what's your purpose until you find your purpose, or it's like, I didn't ask to be here, so why am I here, And that's always been about my thing with my father. It's like, if you necessarily didn't want to have a son, then you should have took the precautions into not having a son, because depending if I was planned or not planned, it's like my mother and father would have had to have, like a sat down or some type of agreement that they wanted to, have a child. I'm not saying maybe I was planned or maybe I was not planned, but I'm quite sure regardless. I know my mother, regardless if I was planned or not, she still loves me regardless. And she took care of me and, looked out after me and stuff like that. But as a kid, that stuff goes through your mind, as to wondering, you know, there's a man, that helped create me in this world. And it's like one day he just walks out for no apparent reason. And it kind of gets to you. And it's like you try to understand, like, what went wrong. Sometimes you might just blame yourself. Sometimes you just don't know why it happened. And, but over the years, I've just been accustomed to it. Well, here's the thing. Excuse me. I remember at the age of 15 when I was in high school. This is when I finally first met my father. And yeah, I was in high school, I believe. Jesus Christ. Sorry, that's my dog. But anyway, I was 15 years old and I was in high school. And one day I was supposed to go to school, but my mother wound up telling me that you're pretty much not going to go to school today because you're basically going to go somewhere. I forgot the name of the place where you were going, but it was basically yeah. So anyway, before we get to that, I was initially going to go meet my father for the very first time in my life, and I had to go somewhere where you had to get like samples of your DNA to see if if he is the actual father and all that stuff. But before I get into that, it was a shocking moment that I was finally gonna meet my father, because I thought that I was never gonna meet him in my whole entire life. Like, it's just some of us who have absent parents, and it's like, if you never seen him before, like, you would think that you would never see him ever in your life. Like, as a kid to growing up, that you would never see him. And this day, somehow I got lucky. And I met him. But it's like before that, I was just thinking, what are the questions I can ask him, and what are the things that I can basically tell him, or how I feel that for all of these years, like 14, 15 years, he's been absent. And not once have he ever checked on me, called me or anything else like that. So it was kind of like, what can I really say to this man, who I don't even know? Because the thing is, you can walk around and be thinking anybody can be your father. But it's like, once you finally meet him, it's like, what are you necessarily going to do? And so I met him. We went in, we did the whole swabs and everything else like that and all that stuff. And we went to go talk. And so he was basically saying to me, like, I know I haven't been there, for your existence and yada, yada, yada. And if there's anything that you want to ask me or anything you got to say to me, just let me know. And at that point in your life, it's like, you do want to say all of these things and you do want to ask all of these questions, but in the midst of it, it's like I had nothing to ask or anything to tell him, because I was just so shocked that I even met him in the first place. And like, this is surreal, because if you would have asked me if I would have met my father, at the age of 15, or somebody told me I was going to meet him soon, I would have never believed you. But it was like, the moment that shit happened was like right there. And it's like, I was puzzled and didn't know what to do or what to say or anything. But, so we did talk, and he was basically telling me why he was absent, from out of my life, and that he wanted to like reconnect with me and, start helping me finding jobs, because I wasn't, working when I was 15, because I was trying to focus on school, and then like after school find a job, because I wasn't trying to, be stressed about working and going to school. But yeah, I think rewind a few months later, or maybe a year, whatever later, I do get to see him again, and I get to see him with my stepmother. That was the first time I saw my stepmother, and also family from my father's side. So I met uncles, aunts, cousins, and all of that stuff from, my father's side. And it was weird, because I've been so strong on having the immediate family on my mother's side that I've had like my entire time of living. And then it's like, well, it's another family over here that you can worry about as well. But I didn't know anybody. And also, I had a sister and a brother as well that I didn't even know of. So, but yeah, I met him, and it was okay. And the next time I saw my actual father is when, because I haven't heard from him for a while after that. But I noticed one day, I think it was just like a weekend, like a Saturday or something, and this is times when, I don't know if y'all remember like the Zune little media players, like the little Zune players that like played music and stuff. Like I was up all night just listening to music. That's one of my things. I love music. Like music is like very inspirational and very motivational for me to like do stuff for like anything. So like, I love listening to music, and I love having my headphones on, because music just sends me into another whole dimension, or a whole nother space. That'll pretty much do for a lot of us. But anyway, yeah, I was listening to my Zune late night until like the sunrise and shit, and then it's like my mother had woke me up, and it was, you might want to get up and get ready, because your father said he's gonna take you out to Six Flags. I was like, okay, cool, So I get up, get clothes ready, and one of my uncles come to actually pick me up. And on our way to go to Six Flags and everything. We just in the car, just bumping Ti and all that stuff when Ti versus Tip came out. I remember that so much. But yeah, I had met my father again, and there I had met like my cousins and sister and other family members. And there was some incidents where my father was trying to have me drink beers when I wasn't even old enough. And regardless, I wasn't gonna do it anyway because I'm 15 years old, and as 20, at 27 right now, I don't even really like drink. I'm not a drinker, and if I do drink, it's on like occasions, special occasions. Like I'm not a drinker, I'm not a smoker. Like I don't do stuff like that because I'm not saying it's like bad for people to do it. Let people do whatever the hell they want to, but I just don't want to make it a habit for myself. So yeah, like he was trying to make me do things I didn't want to, and trying to like pressure up on like me to talking to another female who I didn't know, who worked at the Six Flags, mind you. And it's like dad, just chill out, like, But overall, it was a great time. I'm not gonna say like my father was a bad person, but all these years I just realized that he had some issues of his own that he had to deal with, because issues within his marriage or issues in his life. So as a grown man now, I would pretty much have to understand if he didn't want to be around his son, even though that's not an excuse, because if you're still around my brother and sister or on your side of the family, but overall, throughout the years, I at this point, I used to be frustrated, but now it's like, you don't understand what what he's been through, because maybe he didn't want to be around your mother, or could have just, my mother just wasn't trying to deal with him, and he has his issues of his own. But I'm just generally saying, I don't have any ill will towards my father. And like for some people that I had conversations with, if he ever would like to come back into my life, he's more than welcome to. Because there's no point of me living the rest of my life with guilt and frustration and all that stuff without actually sitting and talking to my father or having some type of relationship with him, because it just doesn't make sense to me. Even though I didn't brought myself into this world, I didn't remember, you created me, so you have to bring the initiative into learning your son and getting to know your son more than I have to reach out to you. Like, I don't have a problem with calling you or trying to talk to you or communicate with you, but to me, it's not in my right to do so, because that's more of your responsibility than it is for mine. So yeah. So I will never have hatred towards my father for not being there. I mean, maybe could have had some sad excuses or poor excuses why he couldn't be there, but you also have to understand that, people go through shit in their lives. And I would, from what I was hearing, I understand that my father was going through some shit in his life. So, but still, it's like, if he wants to be there, if he wants to have a relationship with his son, then it's always welcome. Though I never feel as though, like, just because you haven't been here, that I'm not just gonna like let you into my life, because I don't want to have that type of regret. So with everyone out there, just if you're having issues with the absence of a parent that you've had in your life, and my apologies for those who don't know who their mother is or father is, who is absent, or you'll never meet him, or whatever the case may be. Sorry if it sounds harsh like that, but I know there are some people out there that don't get that chance, and I was pretty much lucky to even meet the guy. But don't get on yourself too much about it. But I'm quite sure some of us who are watching this are grown. But don't have hatred towards anyone who's not there, because you never know what they're going through. Just try to reach out a little bit, but just know they have to put much more effort into it, just as much as you have, because remember, they created you. They helped created you. It's their responsibility and their job, not yours. But I'm quite sure we all know stuff like that. But I just wanted to, because like I said, I'm trying to have everybody to get to know me. And it's like some people would think, well, why are you talking about stuff like that? You don't mind, like, because it's just it's not like it's secretive or anything else like that. Because I'm quite sure a lot of people just deal with this shit. So I feel like it's informative to me to just talk about it, and plus it expresses the way that I feel a bit, because people just don't get this side of me ever. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. So try not to have regret, try not to be frustrated, just learn. Some people say, let live, let God, something like that, whatever. But it's just, for me, it's just, just don't live with regret. Just try to understand that other person's situation as well. I'm not saying make an excuse for them or let them pass, but it's just, you never know somebody else's situation until you've been in their shoes, because there are instances right now where people who are around my age or whatever not being fathers, and it's pretty much going to mess up the next generation. So, but yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about. So remember to like, or you can dislike this video. You can share it, subscribe to my channel. Remember to follow me on other social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, k.a._Robinson92. You can look me up on my Facebook page, and you can look up my like page as well. And if you want to do like Twitch, I don't even know if I'm going to be streaming video games for right now. I might do one today, but I usually stream like my stuff on like YouTube now, because I'm trying to like do it on YouTube, because if I like stream and make those videos, it stays there. Like with Twitch, you only got a certain amount of days before they like delete your stuff. So yeah, do all of that stuff that I just said with like following and liking and stuff. And I'm glad that I actually talked about this, because this makes me feel a lot better about myself, and if anybody else is going through it. So all right, thank you guys again. I appreciate you for watching this video, and you guys take care.